Welcome to this full tutorial for beginners on how to set up Facebook ads. I'm going to run you through step by step how to set up your first Facebook ads campaign. Now, this might be obvious, but the first thing you're going to need is a personal Facebook page to run ads through. Now, the second thing you're going to need is a page to promote, and by that you can just go here and hit pages and create some sort of business page, because you cannot promote your own personal page. You have to have some sort of website or other business page that you need to promote. For this example today, I've just created a dummy page called Home Bargains USA because we need a business page so I can show you how this is done. Now, to get started setting up your brand new campaign, we'll first just hit Business Suite right here, and that will redirect us to this new page where we will come down to where it says More Tools right here. Click More Tools, and this is basically everything you're going to need to run Facebook ads. I'm not going to really get into what all these mean. For instance, audiences, that is where you would create what's called lookalike audiences or custom audiences, but you can't create those with a brand new account. You need to get some data in there, and then you can create those audiences. If you want to know what those are, find another YouTube video to watch. I'm sure there's plenty of them. But to start setting up a campaign, we want to come right here to Ads Manager. Just click on that, and that will bring us to our Ads Manager dashboard. And this is what an Ads Manager dashboard looks like when it's brand new. If you had other campaigns running, they would all be listed right down here, but obviously this is brand new, so we don't have anything running yet. Let me just briefly explain how Facebook ads are set up. We can look at this like a pyramid, okay? At the top of the pyramid is the campaign, the overall campaign. We call that the campaign level. Below the campaign, we have ad sets. These are individual targeted audiences based off what we're trying to do. If we're trying to sell something, if we're trying to get email leads, we want multiple different audiences, and for each one, we have a new ad set, a different ad set. And at the bottom of the pyramid, we have the actual ads, what's actually going to be seen on Facebook or Instagram. So it goes campaign. Below the campaign, we have different ad sets. And below the ad sets, we have ads. Now, we can just have one ad or we can have multiple, okay? So it's just built like a pyramid. So to get started, the first thing we want to do is hit create right here, and we'll get started with the campaign level. And the first thing it's going to ask us is, what is our goal with this ad, okay? What do we want to accomplish? Do we want to get website clicks? Do we want to get email leads? Do we want to get sales? So if you're doing this for any kind of e-commerce, let's say drop shipping with Shopify, anything like that, we want to hit conversions, okay? Conversions means we want purchases. So this is where we let Facebook know exactly what our goal is here, and they'll help us achieve that. So let's just hit continue. For this example today, let's just assume we're selling some sort of kid's toy. And now that we're set up for conversions, we want to get purchases for a kid's toy. We'll go ahead and just name the campaign Kid's Toy. The name is basically for your reference only. Nobody else will see that besides you. So we're going to name it Kid's Toy. Special ad categories right here. You can leave this as is unless you are trying to advertise some sort of employment opportunity or credit or social issues, anything like that. Since we're just selling a kid's toy, we're going to leave that as is. We always want to leave the buying type set to auction right here, and we can see that we are set up for conversions. We're going to leave this alone for today, this A/B test. Basically, you can test different strategies against each other, but essentially we're going to be doing that anyway with two different ad sets and two different ads. After a few days, we'll be able to see which one of these is working well, which one is not. The last thing we see on this page is campaign budget optimization. If we were to turn this on, that means we'll be setting our budget here at the campaign level. And what that means is that, let's say we have a $20 per day budget and we've got two different ad sets that we're going to set up. By turning this on, we are allowing Facebook to figure out what the best way to spend our money is. So after a few days, the Facebook algorithm will start learning which one of these ad sets is performing well, and organically Facebook will start throwing the most money into the one that is working the best. If we were to keep this off right here, that's going to allow us to set the budget on the ad set level. We can set the budget specifically to each ad set, which is what we're going to do right now. Once we get a good idea of some ad sets that are working, we're going to come back, start a whole new campaign with those ad sets involved, and then we'll turn on campaign budget optimization and set our daily budget from the campaign level. But for today, we're going to keep this off and we'll set the budget at the ad set level. So now we're ready to move on to setting up the ad set, so we'll press next. So here we are ready to set up our brand new ad set. We are not going to name that yet because we need to figure out what audience we are targeting in this particular ad set. So we'll come back up at the end to name this. And again, that's just for our reference. Nobody else but us sees that. So we do want our conversion event location to be our website. And here's the Facebook pixel. You need to set up your Facebook pixel. You can do that through the Business Manager, which is why it's a good idea to set up a Business Manager account. The Facebook pixel is your own personal, let's say, thumbprint that stores all the data from the people that visit your website, okay? Studies their behaviors, actions they take around the internet, stuff like that. It's the most valuable thing that you will have with Facebook ads. So when you have that set up on your website, you'll see something different here. It'll just say your Facebook pixel is active. There'll be a little green dot. If you have a Shopify store, let's say, it's really easy to set up. You can connect it straight, your Facebook page straight to your Shopify store. If you've got a website other than a Shopify store, let's say, you need to set up your pixel. You need to embed the code that Facebook gives you into the header portion of your website. I'm not going to discuss how to do that in this video, but you can probably find another video on YouTube pretty easy on how to do that, but that does need to be done. Moving down the line here, we're going to leave dynamic creative and offer. We're going to leave both of these clicked to off. They're not going to do anything for us in this case, so just leave those alone for now. Now here's where we can set our daily budget for this ad set. We can see that automatically Facebook has it set to $20. Now, something very important to remember that on a brand new ad account, you need to start with a lower budget. You need to let Facebook bill you a couple times. They're going to bill you every $25 until you can prove that you can pay some bills. If you try to start with a budget that's too large when you don't have any credit or clout with Facebook, that could flag your account and your ad account could get shut down. We don't want that to happen. On a brand new ad account, we need to warm it up. I always start with no more than $10 per day for the whole campaign until I hit 2 billing cycles, which is about $50. Then we can come back and up that budget. So we're going to do 2 different ad sets today. We're going to set the budget for each one at $5. So we'll do that right now. And then here's where we can schedule the start or end date. I always just leave those alone. When I want the campaign to end, I do that manually. So we'll leave that alone. The next thing we see down here is audience, okay? We need to find a target audience for this ad set. Now, right away, we see this is for custom audiences and lookalike audiences. I explained a little bit of that beforehand. We don't have enough data yet on this brand new ad account on this pixel to create either a custom audience or a lookalike audience. So we're going to leave that alone for now. Below that, we see locations. Basically, where do you want this ad to be shown? What countries, what cities, what neighborhoods even? And an important thing to remember here is you want to make sure this is on people living or recently in this location, okay? Either that or people living in this location. You don't want people that have expressed interest in traveling to this location or people that were recently there. You want to keep one of these top 2 selected, okay? Now, when you want to add a country, let's say, all you need to do is just type it in here. Let's say we type in Canada. It should come up right there, and boom. Now this ad will be running in the United States and Canada. Next, you can decide the age range that you want this ad to be shown to. So we can just edit this if we need to. Right now, we've got basically the entire spectrum of 18 to 65 years old. If you want to edit that in any way, just push edit right here and you can change any of these up or down. You can also edit the genders. Do you want this to go to boys and girls? Do you want this just to go to men, just to women? You can also do that. Now right here where it says detailed targeting, this is where we search for the proper audience for our kid's toy. When searching for an audience on a new ad set, the first thing you need to do is uncheck this box right here where it says detailed targeting expansion. We want to uncheck that. That's basically Facebook saying, hey, I know you're going to enter some sort of audience, but we're going to show it to other people too that we think might be interested. It's basically Facebook just spending your money in ways that you have not approved of. So always keep that unchecked. Now, we need to find the proper audience for a kid's toy, and now we need to pay attention to the potential reach right here. Right now, this says 290 million people because this is basically every man and woman in the United States and Canada between the ages of 18 and 65. We need to get this down. When you're running more than one ad set, you need to have the audience size, the potential reach, anywhere between 500,000 and 2.5 million people. And how we do that is we start plugging in potential audience demographics right here. So if we want to sell a kid's toy, I might just start with parents, okay, and see what comes up. It's going to give us some suggestions here, and this gets really detailed. So we can choose parents with children between the ages of 9 and 12. I might go a little younger. Let's start with this. Parents with preschoolers ages 3 to 5 years old. Let's plug that in, and that's going to change our audience size dramatically over here. Oh, and it's actually perfect. We got that down to 1.4 million people. So that is going to be great. Now, if you wanted to exclude anybody from this, let's say we want parents with preschoolers ages 3 to 5, but we want to exclude the ones that, send their kids to private school, let's say. We could also throw that in there and exclude that audience, which would also drop down this potential reach significantly. But for this ad set, 1.4 million people is going to be great. We got this first audience down correctly here. Parents with preschoolers ages 3 to 5. So now we want to come back to the top and we want to title the ad set just that. Parents with kids ages 3 to 5. Or any abbreviated version of that. This is simply for you to stay organized. Nobody else but you will see this. This is just so you can quickly reference what audience is within this ad set. The next thing we're going to do is decide on the placements. Where do we want this ad to be shown within the Facebook universe? Do you want it to be on Instagram? Do you want it just to be on the Facebook news feed? Do you want it to be on Facebook stories, etc., etc.? If you would like Facebook to decide that for you and basically place it everywhere that they see fit, you can leave it at automatic placements, okay, which I might recommend you do when first starting out. If you'd like to choose that yourself, we just want to click on manual placements right here. Okay, and then we'll be able to go ahead and uncheck everything we don't want. So let's say we don't want this to be on the Facebook Marketplace. We would uncheck that box right there. We don't want it to be in the Facebook video feeds, so on and so forth. So right now we do see that this ad will be shown on Instagram and Facebook, okay? And again, you need to just go through here and decide what platforms you want it on and what platforms you do not. You can also decide right here what kind of devices you want this ad to be shown on. Do you want it on only mobile devices, only desktop devices, or both? I recommend you leave it at both. You can even scroll down here to the bottom of the placements bar, and we can even decide by pushing show more options. We can decide exactly what mobile devices we want it on. We can choose this to be on all mobile devices, just Android devices, or just Apple devices. One scenario that you might use this in is if you're trying to sell, let's say, iPhone cases, which I've done in the past. I was advertising cases for iPhones, so obviously I only wanted this to be shown to people with Apple devices, so I had to just uncheck the Android. That's one scenario I can think of where you might want to use that. Otherwise, just leave it at all mobile devices. The rest of this stuff down here you don't really need to deal with. This is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo that we are not concerned with. Let Facebook take care of that for you. So before we hit next here and proceed on to the ad portion of this, let's just go back to the top. This is what I always do. Come back to the top and just slowly scroll down and make sure everything is the way you want it. Make sure the budget for this ad set, the daily budget, is set where you want it to. Make sure your audience is correct, the audience size. Make sure the locations where the ad's going to be shown, the ages, the genders, so on and so forth. And finally, the placements. Make sure the placements are where you want them to be. And once everything looks good to you, we can move on to the ad part and just hit next. So now we've made it to the bottom of the pyramid. Now it's time to create the ad, the actual ad that will be shown on Facebook and Instagram. You can name that whatever you want. We're going to use a picture for this example, so I might just name this Pick One, something like that. Below that, this is where you'll have your Facebook business page, and if you choose your Instagram business page right here, the connected accounts, so to speak. Now, what we want to do here is we want to create a single image or video ad, okay? We're not going to get into what the carousel or collections are right now. We're just going to stick actually with just a single image. Now, as we scroll down farther, this is where we would be able to add that. So let's just go ahead and push Add Media right here, and I'm going to add an image. And I do have one saved on my desktop here that we can get. And I'm just going to use this image that we ran for my buddy's company. I know this has nothing to do with kids' toys, but this is just for the example. So we'll go ahead and highlight that, hit next, and then we can see it will appear on the right-hand side in preview mode, this first image right here. This is how it's going to look on the Facebook feed. And then every other platform within Facebook that we've decided to run this on, you can see how it's going to look. Now, first, let me just tell you why this is red up here. This should not be red or a warning when you get into this. This is simply red because I have not entered my landing page URL address yet, which is located down here. Wherever this ad is sending your customers to, that website URL needs to be right here, but we'll get back to that. First, we're just going to go down the line here and show you exactly how to set this up. So now it's time to start adding text into this ad, and we do that with these three columns right here. This primary text, whatever you type in here, that's going to appear over here at the top of the ad, okay, right up in here. Whatever you choose to type under headline here, that's actually going to appear at the very bottom of this creative. We call the images or the videos, those are called creatives. So whatever you type into headline, that's going to be located right down here at the bottom. Anything you type into this box under description, that's just going to be additional text at the bottom of the creative down in here. To be honest with you, I've never ran an ad having typed anything into description. I think it looks too jumbled, too many words. We want to keep it simple. Below description is your call to action button. That is the button that somebody actually physically has to push when they see your ad to get to your website. If you're selling anything online like drop shipping, anything like that, I would have it at Shop Now. But we can see that there are plenty of different options here for call to action buttons. If you just hit that drop down menu, there's a ton of them here. Something's got to work for you, like learn more, get offer, donate now, book now, contact us. It depends on what your goal is. That's what your call to action button should be. Now below that is your website URL. This is the destination URL. Where are these customers going? Where are they being directed to when they click on your ad? So that absolutely needs to be in there, and it needs to be decent, somewhat professional, because the Facebook bots will take a look at it to make sure it's not, anything nuts. But that will appear also down here. Your website URL will appear at the bottom, okay? Now, right below website URL, we can see that we have display link right here. If you choose to put a display link in here, and this is optional, that will appear up top right under here. So let's say you want to, your company's called My Toys, okay? Your website URL is mytoys.com, but you want to put My Toys up here, okay? You put that right there in display link. So let's just go back to the top here, and I'll start filling out some of this stuff so you can see exactly how it's going to appear on Facebook. We'll start with this right here, the primary text. And as I said, whatever I type in here is going to appear up top. So if we're selling toys, I might type in something like super cool toys, get amazing toys at low prices. Who knows? But we can see whatever I typed in there, it's going to appear up top. And I personally always like to use a couple emojis up here. That's just another form of attention grabbing. It gets the eye's attention as they're scrolling up the Instagram feed or the Facebook feed. So I always try to put some sort of emoji up here, and you can put as much text as you want. If it fills up this space, it's just gonna say show more right here, and if they click on that, they can see everything. Some people put a ton of text up here, and I think that's a good idea. The more info you can add, the better right there. Now let's move on to the headline, which again I said is going to appear at the very bottom of this ad right here. I try to put some sort of sense of urgency down there at the bottom where you see headline next to that call to action button, something along these lines, 50% off today only. You know, make it seem like if the customer does not click on your ad today, they're going to miss out on a mega deal. And when you type that in headline right here, we will see it appear at the bottom of this creative right here next to the call to action button. So once you've done all that and the preview over here on the right hand side looks good to you, you are ready to publish this ad and your campaign will be live. To do that, simply just hit publish. Now, right before you publish your ad or just after, the next step is to come back and add a couple more ad sets to this campaign, and this is very simple to do. All you need to do is come right here where it says the parents 3 to 5, that's our first ad set. Just hit these 3 buttons right here, and we can just go duplicate. Let's see, here we go, duplicate right here. We can duplicate that ad set, okay? And we just want 1 copy of this, so we'll duplicate that, and that is going to bring us back to the ad set level where we can start redoing all this. Now keep in mind, this says parents 3 to 5, that's a copy. This is going to be pretty much exactly the way we left it. So we need to go through and make sure everything's correct. We need to clear out the audience that we had before right here and start searching for new ones. Always remembering to turn off this detailed targeting expansion. They will click that back on for you when you try to duplicate an ad set. So now you should have a pretty good understanding on how to set up and run your first campaign with Facebook ads. And when you come back to Ads Manager, you will see your new campaign here in your dashboard. Mine says in draft because I'm not actually publishing this. Just wanted to show you guys how it was done. So if this was valuable to you, please give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you for watching.